Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting the sew along for the very loved and very requested Knotted Threads Gaia crossbody. This is the first pattern from Knotted Threads and it is a beautifully written pattern. I've already made one, so I know it looks like a difficult pattern, but it really isn't, and it has beautiful finishes. Is domestic machine friendly. Even though I'm going to be using my industrial for comfort, you can definitely use your domestic machine to sew this pattern. So as always, day one is reserved for cutting your pieces, your either fabric, cork or vinyl pieces or leather pieces, interface them according to the pattern. Also prep your pieces because there is a little bit of a prep work. So today is probably the longest day, but one of the easiest, because we're not doing any sewing today, just prepping. Let me give you a little bit of overview of the pattern so you get to choose what works best for you. So the pattern is medium size, small to medium size crossbody. I would lean more towards on the smaller side than medium, but again it's based on personal preference. For me, it's a great crossbody for the parks, and I'm actually going to take them to the parks very soon. Both of them, the one I'm sewing during the sew along and the one that I've already made. So I'm splitting my love for the Gaia to both Universal and Disney parks. So the pattern includes, which is awesome if you ask me, includes a projector file, includes a letter format that you print like I have here, includes an A4 for our international friends that want to sew it format, and it also includes, in the price, you don't pay extra, SVG files to cut your pattern pieces with the SVG files. If you have a cutting machine such as a Cricut, Explore and Hire, or a Silhouette, or a Brother Scan and Cut, Scan and Cut, not cat. They are all included in the pattern. So when it comes to cutting your pattern, you have to choose whatever works best for you. For example, I find it sometimes a little faster to just cut my pattern pieces by hand. However, there's a little connector piece, this one, that I would prefer to cut on the cutting machine, just because it gives me a clear cut around the edges, because this will be left unsewn. So again, you find whatever works for you. There's also a little binding piece that will not get finished, will have a raw edge, which means I would prefer to have it cut on my cutting machine, but you don't have to. You can definitely use the old-fashioned way of printing your pattern pieces and just cutting them with a rotary cutter or scissors. So whatever works for you. The pattern is drafted for cork, leather type of material, while at the same time being domestic machine friendly. But if you do want to use cotton woven interface, you are welcome to do so. The only pieces that you should be using woven or a cork would be this little piece here, which is the connector on the side, and the binding at the top, because that will be visible. However, if you use, let's say, store-bought binding, what's it called? Double wide binding, you can replace that, the cork, for just regular woven binding. So there are ways around it. We'll get more into it as we sew. But as it stands, as the pattern is drafting, for these pieces you should be using cork or leather or vinyl, something that you don't mind seeing the raw edge of. Alright, for my sew along, I'm going to be using, let's see, what do we have here? This is part of the 20-year round for Backstitch prints. Remember when Backstitch had the pre-order for 20 years. The print side of the backstitch did not have a pre-order because of the Chinese New Year delay, but the pre-order is opening very soon, so you can definitely grab some beloved 20-year Harry Potter inspired prints as well. And this is the glow in the dark. I have apparently I have an obsession with glow in the dark, because I think I've used it for the last like 3 bags of longs, or my last 3 strikes for backstitch were all glow in the dark. I just love it. I just love the extra something. So this is glow in the dark watercolor houses. Then we have glow in the dark spells, and this time we will also have glow in the dark panels. I am very happy about that. So we have the crest, I have Slytherin and Ravenclaw. According to Pottermore, I'm a Ravenclaw, so I think I'm gonna use this one, or I actually like this one too, so I don't know, I'll have to decide as I cut which one I'm going to use. My husband says I'm a Slytherin, but we'll not say that publicly. So these are all glow in the dark vinyls. While you might have expected this, I do have something that I don't know if you've expected or you know of, but I'm very eager to share with you that Backstitch Prints will offer, drum roll, water resistant canvas with some of the prints. For example, in the 20-year round, you will have this gorgeous maps coordinate that will be available in water resistant canvas. You will also have available these beautiful watercolor houses, also in water resistant canvas. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love them so much. It's the colors are popping really well, and this will make for a beautiful lining. I'm going to be using this one for lining, just to have a little something different than the first one, but I did want to show you the watercolor houses because they look so good. Look at those colors. Absolutely gorgeous. I love them so much. So this is water resistant canvas. You can see the backing is it's not waterproof, so water eventually will slip through it, but it is water resistant. So let's say if I dump some water right now on it, I can wipe it off and there will be nothing on the back. However, if I let it sip there for hours on end, it will seep through. That's why we don't say it's waterproof, we say it's water resistant. But it's definitely something that will not require you to interface it. So if you are someone that uses cotton woven for the lining of your bags and you interface those, you can definitely use the new water resistant canvas and skip the interfacing. So it will save you a little money on interfacing at least, and more importantly, it will save you time. So definitely something I am looking forward to having in my backstitch inventory. It will come in rolls just like vinyl that are 18 inches long. I don't know if there will be 14 inches also, or 13, but I know there will be 18-inch rolls, and it looks so good. This is how the back looks like. And I'm very excited to show it in action. I have used it before. I have made some pouches before when we were testing it, so I know it's a great quality, and I know you will love it as much as I do. So without further ado, let's get into cutting our pattern pieces, cutting our interfacing, and we'll chat some more while we do that. I am back. I'm going to start by cutting the lining piece. lining pieces. So we're going to need a front pocket lining, and I'll start with that. If you notice on my pattern piece, I punched a little hole right here because I'm going to be doing the style that has the magnetic snap, not the lining in the middle. I have a big phone with a big case, so I need all the space I can have on the outside. So that's why I prefer this style than the one with the dotted dash, the dotted line in the center and stitch down. So I'm going to mark my placement right here. It is marked right here. There you go. Then we need, this will also go on the exterior pile. I like to separate my pattern pieces, what's exterior, what's interfacing, because this one actually has different fabric, different pattern pieces for interfacing, which I love. So I'm going to cut my interface, my gusset now, and we need 2 of them. Be cautious with your fabric or your vinyl if you have a directional print. This one is tossed, so it definitely makes my life easier. And the reason I'm cutting along the bottom first is because this lining is so pretty, this waterproof, water-resistant canvas is so pretty that I actually want to use it for my crossbody strap. So I need the whole width of fabric to be not shortened in any way. I'm going to do the strap that has 2 different prints, one on the outside, which I'm going to do probably in the water, in the glow, and then on the back it will have these bright yellow maps. You can have fun with it, right? Okay, so I have the lining piece cut. I'm not going to cut any woven interfacing for the lining because I'm using water resistant canvas, so it doesn't really require it. Then I need some pockets, and I need two of the big pockets and 1 for the slip pocket, and again with no interfacing. So this is 1. Okay, and I will need another one, and that I will place here. Again, I'm trying to keep the top part, the width of fabric the way it is, so I can cut my strap at the end. So pretty. Okay. And these are done. Again, no interfacing needed. Then I'm doing the slip pocket, which is this one. Again, I'm not cutting the interfacing part because I'm not interfacing the water resistant canvas. These are rectangle pieces, so you obviously can cut them without printing the pattern pieces. I personally like having pattern pieces for them. And then I have 2 exterior. This one goes here. So I think I'm ready with the water resistant canvas, except for the strap. And for my crossbody strap, I just cut widths of fabric, because that's what I'm used to, regardless of the pattern. So I'm sure there's measurements for it, but I like to just cut widths of fabric. And this is going to be, I'm cutting at 2 inches, not 4, because it will be double-sided. And this will be half of my part of my strap, and then the main fabric will be the other part. Okay, so the lining is cut. Let's move on to the interfacing, just so I can clear my table. As you can see, I have some interfacing here that I will be using. For fleece, I like to use thermolam instead of just regular Pelham fusible fleece. It is a fusible fleece style, but I find it to be a little more luxurious and feels a little better. You can definitely use Decovil Light or cotton soft geeky fuse instead of fleece. I've done mine, the previous one, with this, and it works great. For woven interfacing, my favorite is by far the cotton soft from Wizardry, the geeky fuse. So if you're using woven or you're using vinyl that you're not sure of the quality just yet, how it will stitch, or if you feel that it's a little stretchy or a lot stretchy, highly encourage you to interface all your pieces of vinyl with woven interfacing to reduce the stretch and make it a lot easier to sew. I know the quality of my backstitch vinyl. I do not interface it if I don't have to with woven interfacing, I mean. So I'm going to skip this during the sew along, but do not skip it if you don't know the quality of the vinyl, or you know it and you know it's stretchy, or it tears. So be cautious about that. Let's do the fleece first, and then I do need some small scraps of Decovil Light for the gusset piece and another extra little piece, but those are just scraps. You don't need to cut them right now. And the measurements for those are in the pattern. So one, and then another one. I love that it's a separate pattern piece, because the fusible fleece is smaller than the actual pattern piece, so it stays out of your seam allowances, which will make it domestic machine friendly. It reduces a lot of bulk. So that's my fleece for the gusset, and then I need 2 pieces of fleece for the main. So we're going to cut this one. And then another one, and that's it for the fleece. See, it has not so many pattern pieces, not so much interfacing. It looks like a very complicated pattern, but it definitely is not. That is it for the fleece. And now we can move on to the actual pattern pieces. Okay, so I have my main outer parts here, and let's see, what do we want to do is the question. I'm thinking I want this one, the crest with all of them. So I have my visual line here, and I have that little notch here so I can kind of see. Oh, luckily the pattern does have just a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so it will work okay with this. I might just make it slightly higher, just a 1/4 inch higher, to make sure that I don't cut off the crest. But that would mean that I would have to recut the pattern piece for the lining. I don't know what I should do, because if I cut it the way it is right now, it's going to be right at the crest, like right there. I think it would work. Okay. This is my train of thought. So now I don't have to recut anything. So this will be my front pocket. Look how pretty. And it's gonna glow. I'm excited to see it glowing. Okay, so this is done. Let's see, what else do we want to make out of an accent black? I think I might do, let me just cut my panel so I don't accidentally cut into the other ones. Okay. And I'm thinking I'll do this and this, and maybe even the binding with this, but I might try to do it on my Cricut. So for now I'll just put those aside until I decide if I cut them by hand or with my Cricut. Let's cut the main pieces. So I'm going to cut one here, and you need 2 of them, plus stabilized woven interfacing if you feel you need it. I also love how the cut chart is right on the pattern piece, so I don't have to refer to the actual tutorial for the extra cutting stuff. I love that about this pattern. Okay, so we have that, and we need 2 of them. So I'm going to do the other one right here. And I also need, and I'm going to use the spells for, there's a piece for that goes in the line, this, for these 2. I'm also going to use the spells. So let me grab my little ruler here. Again, these are the pattern pieces that you can cut with your like cutting machine if you have one. Okay, so you need 2 of these. Okay, and I also need 2 of these little guys. Be careful not to lose them because they are really little. And I think this is it from the Spells vinyl. I'm going to grab now the watercolor houses, cut my strap and cut my gussets with it. And since this is a directional print, you need to make sure, if you do use a directional print, that your gussets are going the correct way. So you want one gusset like this and another one like this. So you don't want one like this and one like this. You also don't want one to unfold like this. You want your gussets like so. So when you look at the bag from the sides, the image will be the vertical. Okay. I think it's time for a new blade, because it's definitely not time for a new cutting mat. There you go. And I still have enough on the bottom to do my crossbody strap, because I only need 2 inches by the width of fabric. Perfect. Again, if you're using cotton woven or a vinyl that's not super sturdy, then use woven interfacing for all the pieces. Okay, and now let's do the crossbody strap. And I'm going to fold my vinyl like so. This way I get the whole width of fabric. And I'm going to cut 2 inches by the width of fabric. So this will be the other side of the maps part. Gorgeous, right? And let's see what else. Now we have some pieces to cut that are in the cut chart. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And we've already done the strap part. We need the zipper placket. Ooh, zipper placket. What should we do for the zipper placket? I think I'm gonna do this print that I have here. So you need 2 zipper plackets. And again, I'm reading from the actual pattern piece, and I love that. So you need 2 zipper plackets, And they are 16. Okay. And then, oh, why did I cut 4? I didn't need 4, I needed 3. Oh, actually that's 1 inch, which is good because I need something, an accent there is 1 inch. Okay, so these are my zipper plackets. Two zipper plackets. Then I have a trim for the slip pocket that is 1 inch, which is good for this scrap. Okay, and then we have the top binding, but the top binding I think I'm going to try to cut with my Cricut. See if it works. Or actually no, while I'm here I might as well. Let's cut the top binding. And I said I wanted to make it with lining panel. Yeah. So it's like a solid color. And we need 2 that are 1 inch and 1/8. So that's 2 1/4 if I do it. I like to cut double the width and then just cut it in half. Oh, this way. Okay, so 2 1/4. It's like this. So this will be the binding. If you don't have or you don't want to use any cork or leather or something that doesn't fray, then you can use store-bought double wide, extra wide double fold. That's the name. Extra wide double fold bias tape for the binding at the top. Just keep in mind that it's visible on the outside. So choose one that you would like to see from the outside. Okay, so we're going to cut 1 1/8. There you go. This is my binding piece for the top. So that's done. This is done. I do like to do a little review. Strap. Then we need to go to the Decoville, the zipper tape, and of course these accent pieces that I'm going to try to cut on my machine. If you don't have a machine to cut them on, what I recommend you do is on the back of the fabric, take your pattern piece and draw it out. Don't go like this with the rotary cutter because it's going to get crooked lines. So just take your pattern piece, draw it out, and then cut it by hand with scissors. Same thing with this one. What I like to do when I don't use my machine is I like to actually fabric glue the backing of the vinyl or the cork. Just take a piece of scraps that would fit 2 of them, fabric glue wrong sides together, and then cut so you make sure that the back and the front are cut at the same time. This way there won't be any like crooked edges that are normal because we're humans, we're not robots, we have human hands and human abilities. So if you cut both sides at the same time with the fabric glue together, then it would decrease the possibility of having like little edges, because you can see even when I cut my first one here, you can see that there is like come on, focus. focus. It knows it's shameful. There. So you can see there's like crooked edges from when I cut the first time. So it's okay, we're humans if you don't have a machine. So this will help you a little bit with that. So try that tip, and then we're going to cut the zippers. We're going to cut the Decoville scraps. You have here about 4 or 7 of them, little Decoville scraps. And we're going to fuse the interfacing to the fabric and do the markings. That's what we have left to do for today. I wanted to take a couple of seconds of your time to show you how I use my Cricut. I open my Cricut design space and then upload the file that is included in the pattern. There's an SVG file for your connector pieces as well as the zipper accents. Make sure post opening the file that you check the 1-inch marking. I check it against my grid there and it checks correctly. Then you want to ungroup just ignore the fact that I've copied one piece. You want to ungroup the file and just select the part that you do not want cut, which is the 1-inch and the writing on it. Once you've ungrouped it and deleted that portion, just click Make It, double check that you have all the pieces, and once you hit Continue, make sure that you have selected the correct material for your project. Cricut defaults on the last one used. In my case, it was iron-on, I believe. So I need to turn my dial to custom, which I manually did. And once you turn it to custom, you have the option to select genuine leather, which is my preferred method. I have a deep point blade already set in my Cricut for cutting vinyl with it. And I just press go and look and wait for magic to happen. With the file set up, as you saw in that screen recording, I have a deep cut blade in here already. I set it to custom. I want to do something hard because this is a pretty thick one. So let's see if we have any leather. Silk burlap. Okay, leather. There you go. I'm going to do it for leather. Done. So I know it's a deep cut. And let's see. Let me grab a little mat. And I am using the first Explorer to be out there on the market. So this is the oldest Explorer that there is. So I'm sure if you have a newer model, the settings may be different and probably a lot easier than what I have here. I don't use it enough to justify another one for now. So we will work with what we have. Okay, let's see. I'll try to cut with the vinyl down and see if I like it, and if not, I'll change it with the vinyl up. Flexibility is the name of the game. Again, this is not a maker 1, 2, or 3. It's Explorer, not even an Explorer 1. It's the first Explorer ever made. I got it like 10 years ago. It still does the trick, so. Okay, I have to attach my vinyl right here. Stick it well. Okay, and let's see. And I've only selected the this piece and this piece. That's all I want to do, like the zipper overlay and the D-ring part. And now we can pray for the best. since I'm doing it first time on my Cricut. Last time I did it by hand, and I wasn't a super fan of how it looked like. So hopefully I like it more right now. And I do believe there's pattern pieces so you can cut the whole bag, I think. I haven't checked. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can definitely cut the whole bag on a 12 by 12 mat. It fits. So if you are one that has like the cutting machine on standby at all times, you don't have to set it up. And sometimes I'm too lazy to just set it up. So if you have one that's on standby at all time, it might be worth just running it, all the cutting pieces through your cutting machine. We do need 4 of these, so it's set to 4. The file is set up to cut 4, so it cuts exactly as many as you need. Let's see how they look. Let's see, I don't think I've had... Oh, look at this, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Magical. I don't think I've cut a backstitch vinyl, like waterproof, not waterproof, glow vinyl on my Cricut before. That's why I wasn't sure how it's gonna look. Oh, perfection. I love this. Oh, I love this. Love, 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 love this. Okay, so let's cut, now that we're on a roll, we're gonna cut the zipper overlay too. It is, I just want to make sure I'll have enough. I don't know how many inches. 3, 4. Okay, let's cut the the zipper accents. I'm loving these pieces. So pretty. I'm thinking of using some gold thread with it. Something that will pop, not blend in. First thought was to use like unicorn mane or one of the variegated Tex 80s from Wizardry, but I think I'm gonna use some gold Tex 80, also from Wizardry, but like a solid gold to pop, because I'm thinking of gold would pop really well when I top stitch these pieces and everything else. It will also show all the mistakes that I'm probably going to make, but hey, it's not gonna be perfect and it's totally okay. Yeah, I definitely need to take one afternoon when I have time, which is an interesting concept given that I have 0 time, to just cut 10-20 overlays like this, just to have them in a box for every time I need it, so I don't have to set up the Cricut every time, because I don't use it all the time, so it stays in one corner of the room, but it's worth having it. If I have it set up at all times, it's definitely worth having it open for like bag making stuff. It definitely cuts straighter than my hand would ever cut. Maybe not this side. Done? Okay. Let's see. side looks better than the other. I might cut it one more time. Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's really nice. Look how pretty it is. I could never get it this straight with my hands. It's really, really nice. Okay, so I guess it was worth pulling out the machine. Okay, so what we're going to do right now with all the pieces cut and interfacings cut and all that good stuff, I'm going to interface my pieces with the heat press. I'll link a video in the description of today's video about tips and tricks how to use your heat press for interfacing. And then we're going to come back and do all the markings together on the pattern pieces, do a brief run through of all the stuff we've done today, and that would be it for today. Tomorrow we'd start sewing. Okay, let's talk about the pieces that we have. Everything is cut and interfaced. All we have left to do is add some markings. So while I add my markings, I'm also going to go through all the pattern pieces we have. So you have two outer pieces, both interfaced with either Decovil Light or fleece. In my case it's fleece. The top edge matches with the interfacing, and then the interfacing is 1/4 of an inch smaller on the sides. And then we're using your marking, like this marking on your pattern piece. I've added my interface where the snap will be, and I'm also going to mark it on the front. So I'll put this, and I'm also going to mark my snap, and then I'm marking this inner corner, inner zipper placement. Again, just marking, do not cut it out, you're just marking it. Okay, so you have it when we work on the front. It's black on black in my case, so I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera, but it is marked. So mark this inside corner, inside rectangle, sorry. Okay, and you also want to mark the center here at the top and at the bottom, and it's easier using your pattern pieces. You can also, if you don't have a water-soluble pen, or it's not so visible on your fabric, you can also do little snips about 1/8 of an inch for the centers. Obviously not for the markings like on the actual fabric piece. Okay, the second one only has fleece on the back, and we're going to mark the centers as well and the zipper. No snaps on the second piece, so only one has the snap, but both of them have the zippers. As best as you can. It's just a marking so you know when you place your zipper. Okay, let's set those aside. Those are done. Next, take the pocket, the outer pocket piece, and you're going to mark on the lining where your snap goes. I also already added some Decovil there. If you've marked and then added Decovil, you need to remark, because especially if you've marked with a water soluble pen, because the marking disappeared. So now I have my marking right here, and let me do the center as well. Obviously you can find the centers throughout the sewing process as well. Sometimes it's easier to just have them marked there. Okay, for the outer part you just need the centers, you don't need the snap. Okay, Next, the little pieces that go on the face, on the gusset. You need the center at the top, and you can obviously use your pattern piece. These are interfaced with Decoville. This will get the snap later on, so you need to interface them. And this is a piece of Decoville that's 1 by 1.5 centered, and both of them have it. Okay, so make sure that you do add this interfacing. And the markings after you interface, so they don't disappear. I've done it one time where I put all my markings with the disappearing pen on the fabric, and then I interfaced and everything was gone. So don't do that. Okay, then we need the upper lining panel, which is this one, and we need the centers. Again, this is something you can find throughout your sewing process. I wouldn't stress about every single little piece. Okay, that's everything that you see not interfaced in my case can be and should be interfaced with woven interfacing depending on your fabric. Okay, then your zipper, you have 2 zipper plackets, and you want to put 3 markings on each. One is at the 1-inch mark on both ends. I'm using my cutting mat as the guide. Okay, and one is at 8-inch, which is the center. 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is the center of each. So this is what it should look like. So 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and this is 8-inch from each edge, so in the center. Okay, that's done. For the gusset, the outer gusset, I placed a piece of Decoville light here in between, sandwich in between the wrong side of the fleece and the wrong side of the vinyl. I have a piece of Decoville that's 1.5 up and horizontal 1 inch, and it's centered. So this, if you can see it, there. So now I just need the center of this, and you obviously you can use your pattern piece for that. I've guesstimated it pretty accurately. Okay, and both the top and the bottom need to be marked. Okay, and same thing for the lining, the gusset lining. Okay, this is my lining, center, center. Okay, your binding, no markings needed. On your slip pocket accent, that it's 1 inch, I'm going to mark half an inch horizontal. So I'm going to mark the center like so. Okay, nothing on the pockets, nothing on this, but I do want to make the same marking on the center along the crossbody. So along the long part, I want to mark 1 inch because mine are 2 inches long, 2 inches wide. If you're doing the 4 inch, so the double fold, you're going to do this center line obviously at 2 inches, not at 1. So in the center. Okay, on this and on the other. So this is pretty much it. Once you've done all your markings, gather all your pattern pieces and snap a photo of your pile. I can't wait to see what fabrics you chose, and post it in the day one photo comments of the Sew Along album. You can find the Sew Along album for the Gaia in the Backstitch Backroom group on Facebook, and that will be your check-in for day one. Tomorrow on Tuesday we'll be sewing the connector pieces and the zipper pockets, 2 of them. So thank you so much for watching me today. I hope this was helpful. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments below or in the Backstitch Backroom on Facebook. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye!